Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends. Once again, it's time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J.C. McCauley. Broadcasting from the greatest city on earth, Hartford, Connecticut, New England's rising star, where all things are possible. Hartford has it. At least that's what they tell us. Hartford has it. Great things happening here in the capital city, the least of which is not Morning Talk. We got Cleo Duke-Wright, Vicki, Fennell. Start off with Miss Cleo. We haven't seen Miss Cleo in a whole week. Morning, Miss Cleo. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Had a pretty good week. Running around. First week I wasn't working, off for the summer. So I just slept late and did my thing. And I just been having a good time.
That's right. You get the summers off.
I get the summers off, yeah.
Okay, so it's like you have like the same schedule that teachers have.
Right.
All right. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. We have Miss Vicki.
Hello, good morning.
How you doing there, Miss Vicki?
Well, if I had to say how my week was, I would say that it's probably like a 1970s action-packed flick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it. Picture somebody like in even like in a Western, and the horses are running and the train is going. That's how my week has been.
Annie, get your gun?
Maybe Vicki gets your gun. I don't know. It has been quite a week. Action-packed. It's all been good things, but it's just been busy.
Busy?
Yeah,
wow,
just busy.
Wow.
Just busy. You know, you catch your breath, and then you think, okay, I can catch my breath now, and then something else will pop up. And that's what happened this week.
So, a lot of running around.
A lot of running around, a lot of meetings.
Business stuff?
Oh, always business stuff. A little bit of family, but mostly business.
Mm-hmm.
Family's good. Everybody's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mom has started her therapy, and it's getting a little bit more. They're putting a little more pressure on her now, just a little bit. So she's adjusting very well.
It's been like forever.
Well, you know, she's been in for about 6 months, and when you're type 2 diabetic, things can take a little bit longer than for normal people. Let's put it that way. It's the healing process. But her attitude is great. She's making friends at the place. I told her don't get too comfortable because you're coming home next month. And she's taking advantage of the activities that are there. They even did meditation. I told them I think I'm going to sit in on that on that particular activity. And things have pretty much opened up at the facility, so families are coming in. And yeah, it's all good. Oh, and last week my folks celebrated 72 years of marriage.
Oh,
and
praise
so
God. Wonderful.
yes, so Dad was able to. He wanted to come in for a while. He was able to come in and visit with her, and so we had a nice. So between the anniversary and Father's Day, we had a really nice family visit. So, yeah.
All right. Wow.
72 years. Wow. Oh,
I know, and I will
Lord.
never know what that's like, simply because of the time in which they got married.
72 years.
Yeah, I mean, that was shortly after the war, and like my dad was telling somebody the other day. He said, that was after the war. He said guys couldn't wait to get back home and get married. I said, well, look at the lovely ladies that you all married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I saw
A
72 years. Well, let's see. Wednesday night was our anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah. So 14 years.
14 years.
Not quite 72, but 14.
That's terrific.
14 years. Yeah. So
That's terrific.
time flies quickly.
Indeed, it does.
Goes by quickly.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's in the news? What's happening? There's been kind of an interesting week, but
Sadly, what happened down in Miami is
right now they seem to be focused on search and rescue, but the more weightier question is some accountability.
how in the world can that
Building
happen?
didn't just collapse.
I don't know. I'm very familiar with that area, Collins Avenue, Miami Beach. And I don't know when those condos were built. Of course, I was down there in the 70s. I don't know if it's that old. But
no, these are new.
Certainly not
this
familiar.
This is construction problems, right?
This is clearly a construction. I mean,
problem.
either design, construct something
Inferior materials,
went
maybe.
horribly wrong.
Yes.
Horribly wrong. This is monumental failure.
How many people so far missing or dead?
I think 4 were pulled from the rubble this morning. I heard 100 people
were missing. When I heard it was 99 missing. They had found 1. But that was early yesterday. So they've rescued a few more people, but the fact that the collapse happened is
it just doesn't look real when you look at that. I mean, it's just
structural failure. I don't know. I was on the low. It pancaked down.
Yeah.
That's the issue. That is the issue. It seems a lot of times when things go wrong, the deflection is, let's worry about this right now. We have plenty of time for that. No, we
I
do
hope
both.
the other side doesn't come down.
We could do both at the same time. We can start the investigation while we rescue, because someone needs to go seriously under the jail.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
You'll probably find out the contract was awarded to somebody that knew somebody, and they probably used inferior materials, cut corners here, cut corners there, and probably figured, well, no one will figure this out. No one will catch it.
Well, generally things are over-engineered. Mm-hmm. And then you go into value engineering and...
but there's inspections on every level of construction, right?
There's inspections.
Everything gets inspected by the town or the state or somebody as they're building. So
they'll figure out what happened.
Yeah.
They will figure out what happened. And the problem is when people... Either the design was flawed, which, sometimes things just aren't. Sometimes things aren't designed right, or there was a structural problem. It could be a structural problem in the, the cement mix could have been off. So many different things it could be. It doesn't necessarily have to be nefarious. Someone whoever gets a contract selling knows someone. That's just part of life. Someone's going to know somebody, but that doesn't mean the job shouldn't be done right. You know, it's a very, very unfortunate. It's like pilot error in a plane or human error with a plane crash. Could be maintenance or like a dam fail. You ever see these dams? If you're up late and hate television, because it doesn't, like, TV is like a wasteland. It doesn't seem like there's anything of value.
I've turned mine off.
Yeah, I don't watch.
Every once in a while I watch one of those trial things, but I'm just so sick of it.
There's nothing good on it. Like Netflix, Amazon have just taken over, and Hulu or what. I don't have Hulu, but I do have Netflix, Amazon Prime, and of course Disney. And between the stuff that's coming out these days, it's just phenomenal. But television, it's just
even the comedy shows are not funny. They're not funny anymore.
It's not funny. It's absolutely not funny.
No. Saturday Night Live is on life support. I mean, you stay on for 40-something years. I mean, at some point.
Well, the what they talk about just isn't funny.
No.
It's not funny. And I think the saddest part is it's silo humor.
Yeah. It's
silo humor. It's like locker room humor, but not trashy. When I say locker room, I mean, it's locker room is humor strictly for men.
Apparently you haven't been in the ladies' room.
Well, okay. I'm sure there's a whole nother. I've had an opportunity to overhear some women. They didn't know I was around, and I had to extract myself because I was shocked. I was shocked. So, but in the silo, it's only for the people who are there. So it's like anti-Trump humor or anti-Biden humor. And
that's not funny either.
And that's just not funny. It's like
our presidents used to be funny. There was always the humor that was about them was really funny. The last few presidents have not been funny.
They haven't been funny, or humor about them?
They haven't been them. Both. The humor and them are not. No.
Oh,
and so you're watching this stuff, and you're watching the people who are supposed to be portraying them, and it left me scratching my head. I'm like, that's funny? Really?
Oh, I've just had it with it.
Yeah.
I bought the Roku thing and sex and violence.
That's it.
I don't see nothing else.
That's it. And they wonder why
and everybody's got a gun in their hand.
Oh yeah.
Sex, violence, and insults.
Yes.
And there's nothing funny about insults. Now,
no.
Remember my man? I could see his face. The king of insult humor.
Oh,
which one?
That little man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don Rickles? Who?
Don Rickles.
Right. The little man.
But Don was funny.
Don was funny.
Yeah, he was.
But I would not want to be in the audience with him being up there.
And it was funny, but he knew but the people that he was insulting, these were all his friends.
Right, but it was the timing, and it was a very unique shtick. And it wasn't like everybody was doing it.
No.
Jackie
Leonard was another one.
Oh, Jackie Leonard. Now him, I just could not tolerate Jackie Leonard.
Mort Saul. Remember Mort Saul?
No, I don't.
Mort Saul was yeah.
Yeah. See, so insult humor is.
But they were funny guys.
Yeah, but week after week after week after week after week, it's so. But the violence on
Flip
TV
Wilson
is just
Nipsey Russell.
Yeah. So I watch YouTube, and so there's so much great stuff on YouTube, and you can get caught up in the YouTube whirlpool. Next thing you know, it's 8 a.m.
Yeah,
and
there is a lot of footage there.
It's just never ending. But all of that to get to the dam fails. There are a lot of documentaries on how, dams that failed, bridges that collapsed, and the warnings
just a year ago, so ago, that man was driving under that bridge, remember? And was it a year ago? And he called it in, and he said, "There's something wrong with your bridge. You need to come out and check it out." And nobody did, and the bridge collapsed. You remember that? That was just a short while ago.
Well, they had another structural failure. A piece of bridge fell 2 days ago on the highway, like a crosswalk span thing. And, it's built by human beings, but if you watch on YouTube, there's a lot of documentaries and a lot of shows that have been done on structures that failed. Seconds from disaster. One of those shows. And they take you right down to the minute of the fail. They go back and do all the investigation.
But we don't take care of our infrastructure. We don't our bridges need, so I hear, our bridges need to be looked after, and it has been for a long time that they've been neglected. And isn't that one thing that Obama wanted to do and never?
Or with the shovel-ready jobs.
This is what it sounds like again, too, with this thing that Biden is proposing. Is this a rerun of what Obama had started?
I think it might. Well, I don't know if it's a rerun.
Not a rerun, but it's a continuation, or what is this? Because
the infrastructure needs work.
We know that.
And it's going to cost money. People don't want to spend the money on this. It's not they don't want to spend money. They want to spend money on other things. But
you got to spend money.
But if you don't take care of structures, they will deteriorate.
Yeah.
And then they will fail. But we have huge structures that have not been maintained to the level that they should. Many of which are water delivery systems. Water delivery systems are in dire straits. People knew the level of which the water delivery systems are at risk. There's still systems whose pipes are made out of wood. Go back decades.
Wood.
Wood.
Wow, I didn't even
I'm afraid to ask where it's at.
In your major cities.
I know. Yeah.
And so, but
the water tastes so terrible.
Well, the water is just a conduit to get you the water. Its system is still working, but you're gonna have water main breaks, electrical delivery, power line failures, structural failures within buildings. If you're building maintenance, people get cut. Just take your school system, for instance. If your school's system has a maintenance staff of, let's say, 6 people. The maintenance staff is designed as part of the building. It takes a certain number of human hours and human beings, man hours, to take care of a facility. The duct work, the water delivery system, the air, the HVAC, and the buildings and grounds, the roof, all these things. And so if you start cutting staff, you start cutting the ability to take care of the building. You don't have money for the new roof, so the roof leaks. The water gets into certain critical places, and before long, it deteriorates. So you do this year after year, decade after decade, and then you have some serious problems. Well, you remember the Civic Center?
Oh yes.
In Hartford, Connecticut, just hour or two after the place closed, roof
fell in, and they were warned about it, and about the structure of the roof, and paid no attention. They were warned.
That's usually the case. There's always someone trying to warn folk or sound the alarm. But the people who run things, they try and put they put spin on. Spin doesn't change the reality. Mm-mm. It just points the viewer into a different direction. Like the Wizard of Oz. Don't pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's the dude. He's telling you not to pay attention to him. Hey. Tragic. Absolutely tragic. The explosion that happened in last year, I can't remember the city, where the ammonium nitrate was stored, and it devastated the whole port, and it escapes me. I should ask the artificial intelligence. These things happen, and the people suffer because of incompetence and corruption.
Yes. And that's the bottom line. The people are always the one that's going to suffer behind all of this.
Yep. The people are the ones that take the hit. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, it's not a massive, catastrophic, structural disaster. They're generally smaller things that most people don't realize.
So then they're going to have to look at these people who built this building, probably built another building. They're going to have to look at all the buildings that these people built.
Yeah. That was the case with the bridges. In the one bridge thing I watched, there was a company that had built these things, and they'd built several of them. And there were problems with all of them because the way in which they went about it was an issue. Mm-hmm. And then it was repeated. So these things are very, very unfortunate. So that disaster is what else is going on?
The little girl who died in the building.
Oh God.
Why not? Where? In Manchester?
Yeah.
Manchester.
She was murdered.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And you notice you have not heard too much.
Yeah, a lot of question marks for me with that whole thing.
What I think it has to do, I think it's all about children. From what I hear, it's all children.
Children did this to each other, or someone?
That's what it sounds like.
It's you haven't heard any names. You have. It's about children.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's
the reason you're not hearing anything about it is because of the age of the people involved all the way around.
The age of the people involved, and children just doing things and not thinking. Not that there was somebody who planned this. It's just children acting out, and that's, and there's.
There's more to the story than we've initially heard.
Oh yes, and they're.
I'm sure of that.
And they I think they don't really know
how to present it.
They may not be able to present
it.
Right.
They probably
if they're underage, it's not something you can.
Right.
Because if there's minors all involved, then it just drops off. It doesn't stop being investigated. It just isn't reported on.
Right.
Yes.
Right. What's investigated is different from what gets reported on. I think people think that because they're not hearing something, sometimes things are covered up.
Continuously.
The investigations continue, and they're resolved, and people are doing their job. You're just not. The public is just not aware of it.
Right, and now I don't think that they could give you a lot of information on this.
No.
And sometimes people don't need to know everything.
No.
People want to know stuff, but they don't need to know everything.
But it's a tragic situation, and just involves so many families and
I don't understand it. I just it's just unfathomable to me.
Well,
I guess things are a lot different than when we were all growing up. And I just couldn't imagine anything happening like this when I was growing up.
kids getting?
Yeah, kids doing things to each other.
Oh, kids have done the stuff to each other throughout the millennium.
I mean, this is really, I just don't.
Every generation experiences things for the first time in their age and in their sphere, so it seems new.
But I think our parents protected us a lot better. I was having this conversation with my dad the other day, and I said, I think what's interesting here is that, we look at the generations. I said, when we were kids, our parents knew who our friends were, and they also knew the parents of the friends. I know on my street in particular, everybody on the street knew us, and we knew everybody on the street, and our parents knew who we played with, and we were not allowed to go certain places without an adult being present. Period.
Well,
Different.
when I the only place that I could ever remember having good neighbors was in the project. When I bought my first house, I couldn't believe how different it was. Mm-hmm. There was no people sitting on the porches visiting, or it was a whole different. Owning your own house was a whole different world than living in a project, because you're all together there,
right?
And you support each other. Mm-hmm. And you sit out on the porch at night in the summertime, and your kids are playing in front of you, and your people are riding bikes all around, and so you get into your own home, and everybody stays in their own house, and you don't have your neighbor, and you say, "Oh my goodness, this is not good. This is terrible," because I didn't know how to be a neighbor in a house, by myself. I think that's why project people, somebody passes, everybody comes, because you're all together.
Well, it's a very tight-knit community.
All you know each other. You know the parents. You know the grandparents. Her aunt, maybe Aunt Mamie. Well, I call her Aunt Mamie too, because you call her Aunt Mamie. So it was a whole different thing. And then I guess when you're living in a house and in a neighborhood, I never really fit in very well there, because I never knew how to act in a house.
Well, I think you have,
like that.
I think certain neighborhoods are very tight knit, and where you have tight knit neighborhoods, and communities, some communities aren't. You live in a house and you're from a tight knit community, you're kind of disjointed.
It's a whole different world.
I think so. But you had the Kennedy cousins. I mean, it's not like
like well, they got all their compounds. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about the murder. The mark.
Okay.
So
the Skakel.
Skakel, yeah. Okay. So these things don't happen all the time, but they make the news. But there's you can go back through history and you can find these kinds of things. Human behavior's somewhat predictable, and it's cyclical. Technology changes, but people don't. You're born, you learn how to walk. It's like, geez, people keep learning how to walk over and over again. They're born, then you learn how to be disappointed. You grow up, and things
and you're
seem
still disappointed.
New. Yeah, they seem new to the people going through them. But in fact, I was very interesting. I attended a meeting, which I won't mention, and for the first time, I could see myself and how others may have seen me 40 years ago. Because now I'm the 61-year-old at a meeting with young people who have a vision and zeal. And the only thing you can think to yourself is, well, let me just support them, because they're in for a rude awakening. You know, you don't want to say anything, so you just support because you know exactly where this is going.
Yeah,
but you know, you don't want to deflate them. You don't want. They're not going to believe you anyway.
No,
And so,
but you tell them like I tell my grandchildren. I said, you know, you go for it. But
there
I
you
said,
go.
if you fall down,
Get up.
you got to get up.
Right.
No matter what happens, you have got to get up. You got to keep on going, even if it ends up in a different direction. You cannot sit there. You got to get up. Well, right now they're at, I know, Grandma, but I keep saying it because you know those things are gonna happen.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
things are coming, and I'm saying to myself with my experience with my child is maybe I didn't say that. I don't remember saying that. I thought that they saw me go to work every day. They saw me not ever sitting down, you know, but maybe I didn't say it, you know, so I just thought, so some of them learned it from looking at me, I guess, and the world around them, and some of them didn't. But now I push it. I push it, and they say, all right, Grandma, and I said, all right, baby.
Well, I think that's all you can do. You know, you give,
all right, baby.
give people
Yeah.
room to explore. You know,
Yeah.
folks. For one thing,
And they must explore.
people have to find out some things on their own. That's
own.
part of the growth process.
Yes.
You can't
Yes.
warn people about certain things because they haven't experienced it like you have, and particularly if it's a failure. If you failed at something, it's very difficult to pass that experience on to someone else
Yes.
in your desire to help them avoid the failure that you didn't avoid because you wouldn't listen to anybody.
Well, I didn't listen to my mother. She says, Cleo, you're going to get into trouble. That's not the way to go. Oh, in my smart mouth, I said, look, Ma, I said, if I get into trouble, believe me, I will get myself out. I will do this. I could remember that just like it was yesterday. And soon as that came out of my mouth, it seems like as soon as that came out of my mouth, I was in trouble. just like she said. And yes, I did work my way out of it. But let me tell you, I didn't work my way out of it without my mom.
Yeah.
My mom was right there with me, and she never said, not one time did she say, I told you so.
Yeah, there's
She
no
just-
need to.
She never said that. She just said, that's all right, baby. We're going to get through this. That's all she said. She never said, I told you so. And I appreciate that to this day. So, yeah, she couldn't warn me. It's because I had my eyes set one way, and I thought I knew. You think you know, but you don't know, and your parents just have to just wait for the ball to fall.
Wait for it to fall and be
Yeah,
there
yeah.
to help. The you know, things are markedly, I shouldn't say markedly, notably worse than they were. Some things happen over and over, but you know, there's things we are on somewhat of a seemingly a decline. And you know, today is a U.S. Supreme Court. Today in history and yesterday in history are two Supreme Court decisions in different years that took prayer out of school and made it illegal, unconstitutional to include prayer in certain things. And people celebrated those things, but to me, those things have devastating consequences that are unforeseen because it's, you know, it's an unwritten moral code that is becomes part of the foundation and the fabric of the society. And you know, they're like rules and laws. And if they're summarily dismissed, then you can, you know, then they don't matter anymore. Just like laws that are dismissed don't matter.
I think it's
anymore.
interesting what happened to the person that brought that forward to the Supreme Court. she ended up dead and no one ever found her body.
Well, someone might have killed her.
Well, it's obvious somebody killed her.
Yeah.
And her son and her granddaughter, right?
No. The son ended up becoming a minister, which I thought was very interesting. But, yeah, they never found her body.
Well,
you know, when prayer was in, you're saying it made a difference, but at the time they didn't think it would make a difference. But the mischievous children and the children that behaved, and everybody prayed first thing in the morning.
it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It does make a
Meditation.
It makes all the
difference, and
difference
it
in the
has
world.
made a difference, and we could see that difference now.
It makes a difference even to those who don't believe and are hostile toward it. It's kind of like an early version of the cancel culture. I don't like that, therefore it must stop. As opposed to I don't have to engage in it.
Right.
And if I don't like something, I don't engage in it. It doesn't mean I cancel it. And so everyone's necessary for the good of the whole. Everyone is necessary. It's like the whole body needs every element of it. Not get rid of parts of your body because they're not the more shinier parts, right? So, but if there's a moral standard, then people feel bad when they do a thing, and they may think twice, or how acceptable is it? But the more you start to erode those things, the slipperier it gets. One of the callers or one of the viewers here says, Grand Theft Auto is a series of video games that places violence at the forefront of fun. I've seen Grand Theft Auto. There's actually a couple versions of this. It's actually kind of an old game at this point. But killing, robbing, any kind of crime, you get points. And so people become desensitized. You've got things going on in the world today where you have issues around folk getting shot. Now, once upon a time, Henry Brown's is a good friend. Yeah, I'd say he's a friend of mine. And when Mothers United Against Violence first started, I was actually around. I was there. I wasn't like there, but I was there when they got underway because they had a television program, Hope Street Ministries, and Mothers United Against Violence grew out of that. And in the beginning, I used to cover the vigils, but I stopped. I didn't stop because I didn't think they were worthwhile. I stopped because I didn't want them to become the new normal in terms of what people saw. Another visual. Another visual. Shock value loses its value if you see it all the time. It's no longer shocking.
When someone young thinks that when they die, that's what their funeral is going to be like. That's what they're waiting. They're looking at the visual that say the word visual. They're looking at that gathering at the corner.
The visual.
Yeah,
vigil.
Yeah, they're looking at the gathering at the corner, and they're saying that's what you're gonna do for me. They're gonna put all the candles down on the ground in the corner, and they're gonna say a prayer, and they're gonna blah 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 blah. And I said to this man, that's what she says. Yes, that's what it's gonna be like, and that was a good thing for him. That, and I thought that was such a sad thing.
Well, everything is relative. The standard, if you think something is a celebration, is a celebration.
Yeah.
The level of the celebration and the importance of it is relative to the individual. So if somebody believes that is a good way to go, and people think they're not going to live beyond 20, and so if they set their benchmark low, and then you have violence happening all over the place, and it becomes... you become desensitized to it because of the frequency of it. And before long, people opt out. No one wants to walk around constantly feeling down, out, and depressed if they don't have to. They self-medicate, they remove themselves, they do all kinds of things, but nobody wants to feel in that dark place because it doesn't end well. And if people are desperate,
they're not feeling
living from moment to moment in survival mode, and you can't get out of where you're living, and your building is depressed, the neighbors are depressed, and you're depressed, and it's this circle of depression, and everyone you know is like that. This doesn't mean that everybody in the planet, that everyone is like that, but if all of the people in your circle are like that, that can spiral.
It's hard to sometimes keep a light shining if you're always around depression and anger and negativity. You really have to work it staying up and not falling into the darkness with the people around you. I knew a young man, this was years ago, when I was running the soup kitchen, and we were having we were supposed to go up to the Civic Center. I think I told you this before, and have a meeting with them about something, and I forget what that was. And he had told me we were coming up, and he was telling me about girlfriends. He says, no, I can't have that friend or this friend because I have to have a low-class girl. And I didn't. I said a low-class girl. Yeah, a low-class girl. We get to the Civic Center, and we walk into this big room with a big table, you know, and we're the first ones. They let us into this room. He would not. He said, not me. He would not stay. He would not stay in that room. He would not stay in the room. He said, no. So even if we have opportunities to express ourselves and he had something good to say, it was not a place for him to say it. If I had had that meeting in the soup kitchen around one of those tables, he probably would have talked. So we put barriers around ourselves, even when we have opportunities to improve. We can't see it.
Well, that's kind of profound, because if at the end of the day, the only one that can make it better, the only one who can move you forward is you.
Right.
And you can want to help people as all you want, but if they don't want to change,
or fear of change, or fear that they won't fit, fear,
whatever is in the way of them deciding to move forward. If they don't move forward, then they won't move forward. I mean, you can only do but so much.
And I have tried to push people into moving forward, into doing this, into doing that. Even in going into a restaurant that I'm not going in that restaurant. I'm not going in there. That's not for me. So they take you to the railroad station. This is before Papa's was there or anything. That in this big dark room with your beautiful dress on to eat, because this is where they're used to going. And you expect that you were gonna go to like the hotel or a nice restaurant, but this was where they took you. So you have to, and you can't change that. As much as and hard as I have tried.
I think sometimes we try to superimpose our worldview on other people, such as to say that what they find acceptable is unacceptable, because they should want more. Because, of course, we want more for them, when what they have is fine
with that.
As far as they're concerned. It's different if somebody says, I would like help, or I want things to be better for myself. I think when people want better, they seek to do better. Mm-hmm. I think that if you see someone who's at issue, and this is, a lot of people don't like the Bible because the Bible is a set of standards that most people see as something that convicts them. The Bible points out where I'm wrong, and I don't like to be seen as wrong, so I don't like that part about it. Who needs that? So you can change laws, but it's very hard to change the good book. And so people, they want to cancel it because they don't like how it makes them feel. But there's wisdom in there.
Oh, yes.
And if people would embrace that, I think their lives might be a little bit better. Bible says, if you go into a town and they don't receive the message, kick the dust off your feet and go on. I mean, how much time are you going to spend trying to change people who don't want to be changed? You did your part, move on. Maybe the next person will come and do it. So, we don't listen.
No, we don't.
We don't listen, and we try our very, very best. The Bible also says, if you see a brother overtaking a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one. So if you see a group of people who are in need, you try to help them. But that don't mean that they're going to receive your help. And it doesn't mean that they have to receive your help. And so I think sometimes we meddle. I call meddlers. We meddle in other people's affairs.
It takes a lifetime to learn that.
And, why are you meddling in my affairs? I'm really, really happy not having any bills, any responsibilities.
Yes.
I live a carefree life. I go from town to town. I have friends. I have a place to stay, and I'm not hungry. But you try to put me in this building where I have to live according to your standards. Some people are cool.
Sid, I just got to tell you this story. There is a person in Harvard who is a wonderful, wonderful artist. I mean, you sit down and he could draw you. It's wonderful. So we decided, maybe not we decided, maybe I decided, I don't know, that he should, he could make money, get a peddler's license and make money. He could go to the Civic Center and draw pictures and do all of this. So we made T-shirts, and we sold T-shirts, and we raised money so he could get his peddler's license. So one day I was talking to him, and I was saying, yes, and I want to get your peddler's license. You're going to have to pay taxes. You pay taxes and stuff like that. I didn't see him again for a very long time. He wasn't going to pay any taxes. He wasn't going to do any of this. He never got his peddler's license. He's still doing what he's doing just the way he was when I met him. And I thought that it would be better for him to, get stable, maybe take care of his children. It was all in my head, but none of this was in his head. And when he found out that he had to pay taxes and he'd be a regular citizen and all of that, he wanted no part of it. And so he never got his license or did anything, but he still draws his pictures. He still gets his little money, the little bit that he gets, and he is satisfied with that. So, that story, you're saying it was my idea. Mm-hmm. It was my set of principles, that he should be this, but it was not in him to be that.
Yeah, I still subscribe to the old adage that when people want help, they ask.
What did you say that again?
I said I still subscribe to the old adage that when people want help, they will ask. Now, I know that not everyone feels comfortable asking for help, But if they don't ask for help, it isn't incumbent upon me to read their mind and determine what level of help they need and intervene in their lives.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of people out here helping a lot of people. And, you know, people have to bear some level of personal responsibility.
Yep.
In getting help and in also holding themselves accountable in others. I mean, you know, it is not good that we live in a society where no one's accountable for anything, and that's when you don't have laws and rules that people respect. They do whatever they want to do, and the long-term effects of this is very, very damaging in terms of societal cohesiveness and things like that. And you start breaking down. The United States is a country that's built on the rule of law. And if laws start to break down, the people here will not be able to... it's like imposing law on a country that doesn't have law. I mean, that's how everything operates here. And when you take rules away, people feel that they can do whatever.
I think sometimes you have the wrong idea growing up that and you start taking care of people instead of supporting them and leaving them alone when they don't want to be bothered. But if you have a certain way of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and the people around you that you grew up with, that you are around, have that same way of thinking, that when you go into another area, you just naturally assume that those people think the same way. So it takes a little time for you to realize that the world is bigger than you and the people around you, that those people live in a different world. And just like you say, they may like it. They're comfortable with it. When they cut food stamps, when they cut their monthly benefits, and nobody complained, I was shocked. They were getting $400 a month. Now they're getting $100 a month, and nobody complained. You know what they said? Oh, my money's coming in today. It didn't matter if it was $100. It didn't matter if it was $400. They just wanted their money. And there was one time where the state paid the shelters directly, or the apartments directly, and I guess the people got the rest of the money or whatever. And when they rallied and said we could pay our own bills, we don't need you. Of course, most of them got evicted. The shelters, they were thrown out of the shelters because they didn't pay their bills. They never paid bills. But they said we could do our own thing, and so they did their own thing. Eventually, they lost their money, and they still didn't complain. If you had given them $50, it would have been okay. Just give me my $50, and they just went on their business. They just didn't fight for anything. Other people fought for them, but if they had to fight for themselves, they wouldn't have done it. And you know how we got them together to fight? We fed them.
Well, people will come together for food.
We went around in a truck, and we gathered them up and we fed them. And then we took them down the city hall, and so there was a whole bunch of people saying we need this or we need that, and if it wasn't for the food, they wouldn't have been there.
Well, that's another interesting thing. We need. That's an interesting. We need. I need. Okay, and you need. You need. So what does that mean? Does that mean that I'm supposed to give to you what you need? So, like, who's responsible for supplying what you need? At what point am I responsible for taking care of myself?
That's right.
This is interesting. I want to see this real quick. I just got an alert on my phone. CT alerts. Are you familiar with CT alerts?
Is that the state government
alert system?
Yeah.
Police presence in vicinity of Rogers Orchards, searching for a male suspect believed to be armed and dangerous. 31, light-skinned, is male.
Well, where is Rogers Orchard? Doesn't sound like it's around here.
I think Rogers and Orchard.
Oh, Rogers and Orchard. I was thinking like an orchard,
No. It's a text message.
Oh, Rogers and Orchard. So that's streets in Hartford?
Must be. I mean, it came to my phone. So.
And where is that? Is that around here?
According to this, it's a CT alert presence, because of course they know where I am.
Well, of course.
It's my phone. I'm right here.
Did you signed up for CT alerts?
I don't remember signing up for CT alerts, but apparently I have, You sign up for stuff when you download things and you don't read stuff. They pack more and more stuff into the things you
I've gotten an amber alert. What is it? Silver alert, amber alerts?
Right. Or they'll send you an alert.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to receive this alert or others, just press no. And if you ignore it, that's you get an opt out. You're automatically in. You got to opt out.
Right.
As opposed to opting in. When they don't want you to be involved in something, you have to opt in. When they want to make you part of something,
you have to opt out.
You have to opt out.
Okay. So where's this guy at? He's walking around here in the neighborhood, or?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. But that's just the alert that came. I just wanted to see what the alert said because it caught my eye. Because it popped up on the phone screen where I have all my where people are commenting and stuff like that. Yeah, that's very interesting. CT alerts. Now, they track people. Mm-hmm. That's another one of my big things about the...
That's why I think it's some people say, oh, don't do that because they'll know where you are. I said they know where you are anyway.
You got a phone, they know where you are. If you have a phone, they know where you are.
Yes.
They know exactly where you are. In fact, yesterday I was looking up, because I have to go out of town tomorrow to New York. And I was trying to think of how I could get back here sooner than later. Because I'm going with a group of people. I have to go with a group of people. Rogers and Orchard is in... someone is telling me where it is. Southington.
Oh.
Southington, Connecticut area. No need to mention my name. You should start the message off with, please don't mention my name. That way you make sure they don't mention your name, because usually, so-and-so's reporting here, and you read the message, and then at the end of the message it says,
no need.
Don't mention my name. I was trying to figure out how to get from where I'm going to be is like a 6-minute drive, 15-minute walk from Grand Central Station. So I was going to walk to Grand Central Station and come back to Hartford. Now, there's plenty of trains from Grand Central to New Haven.
Yeah.
That's where the ball gets dropped quickly. Getting from New Haven to Hartford.
Yes.
That train's not running every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every half hour, every 3 hours is more like it.
Well, you could take a bus from New Haven into Hartford.
Oh.
If you wanted to.
If I do that, I might as well just get on a bus in New York.
Yeah, well, it works. But they've got this, what is it, the Hartford line now?
Yeah, but it doesn't run. There's 3 trains. I got the schedule right here.
It doesn't run.
It doesn't run, what, at that time?
Not at night.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, you're going to have to take a bus.
Yeah. I take, well, no, I
Either
come
that
back
or
with the
drive
people.
or
I come back with the people I go down there with.
Yeah. Are they driving in or what? Or are they?
Yeah, they're driving.
Oh, okay.
We drive down. It's a production.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm being, but I have to go on this production. So the train from Grand Central to New Haven, it runs on the hour.
Yes. Well, is that weekend schedule?
Yeah, weekend schedule. But when I try to get back oh, here it is on the big yellow tab. This looks like wife work. She likes these kinds of detail stuff. Like, should you get on the train at Grand Central Station or should you get on at Penn Station? And how many buses go to Grand Central Station relative to Penn Station? Then when you get to Penn Station, how can you get from this? She likes that kind of stuff. All that kind of detail
well,
stuff.
Logistics are very important when you go into New York. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm just going to, well, where's the trains? You find out as it unfolds. I don't, I react sometimes, don't plan.
Well, where is your production going to be held at?
Right in the shadows of the Empire State Building.
So then that's Grand Central Station.
At Grand Central. Like 15-minute walk.
Yeah.
That's at a slow walk. I walk fast. It take me 7 minutes.
Now, are you having equipment with you, or are you?
Well, it depends. I'm taking whether or not I come back depends on the type of equipment I take. So
yeah.
But I think I'm going to be down there until like midnight, which is not a problem. But
you might want to spend the night.
Yes, I was thinking.
Oh no! I don't spend the night anywhere. I like sleeping in my own bed. I don't like sleeping in.
Don't you have a buddy you could bunk up with in New York City for overnight?
I don't sleep with nobody.
I didn't ask you to sleep with anyone. It's called couch surfing. Overnight.
Oh, couch. No, I definitely don't sleep on nobody's couch.
Oh.
Now, I like sleeping in my own bed if I can. I don't like sleeping in strange environment. I'm uncomfortable sleeping in a strange environment. I just as soon sit in the chair all night.
So you one of those guys that would sit in the Port Authority all night, sleep.
I could wait in the Port Authority all night.
Well, it's open all night.
I literally could do that.
Yeah.
I've done that in the airport.
Oh, I love the airport.
Oh, airports
are
are
ride
great.
in the morning to get to the airport, so I got there at night on the bus and just sat there all night. But there's people around.
Yeah, there's people around.
There's always someone
right.
around. I didn't know before I spent the night in the airport. I didn't know people came to the airport with their sleeping stuff and just slept in corners and
people lay out on the floor and
Yeah,
sleep.
and
that's
nobody
right.
bothers them.
No.
They just go to
No,
sleep.
the assumption is you're there for the flight and you decided to come in early.
I mean, you can sleep in front of City Hall and no one will bother you.
Really?
Yeah, Hartford.
I don't know if I'd want to do that. But
There's a guy sleeping across the street in the doorway of City Hall.
oh my goodness.
Well, not City Hall, across the street from City Hall.
What is
He
that?
was in that doorway. I went by downtown Wednesday. I walked downtown to go out to eat, and he was in there. He was just there, camped out on the street.
Nobody bothered them.
Right now, I can remember a couple. At this point, it was before COVID. They were sleeping in the directly across from City Hall at that corner of the MDC building.
Wasn't somebody sleeping in the police station too? Public safety complex? There was somebody in the lobby.
I don't know about
Yeah.
that.
I'm just sitting here. I don't have anywhere to go. I'm just going to sit here in the police station.
Yeah, well.
I'm scared.
But the train is a normal place.
Yeah.
The terminals where people are traveling and they'll sleep because you got a layover.
Right.
You just don't want to miss that plane.
No.
But the train goes from There's the 3 o'clock departure 5
3
o'clock
a.m.?
departure.
Is this AM or
PM.
Oh, PM.
3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 9. The 9 o'clock departure seems to be the last departure.
From Hartford to Hartford.
To Hartford from New Haven.
From New Haven. Okay, what's that on? Metro North?
That's the Northeast Regional.
Oh, that's Amtrak.
No. Oh.
Yeah, that's Amtrak.
Well, this is New Haven to Hartford. I don't know what. Maybe I don't know. So
yeah, the Northeast Regional is Amtrak, and so you would get off.
What about the Valley Flyer?
Valley Flyer?
There's the Amtrak.
Yeah, Amtrak. Well,
Amtrak is the 470. The 464 departs at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
The Valley Flyer leaves, which is train number, I guess, 488. That leaves at 5 o'clock, and then the Northeast Regional.
Right.
Is 9:54 p.m.
That leaves New York.
No.
That arrives in New York. I mean, it arrives in Hartford. Right.
These three are the New Haven to Hartford run.
Oh, okay.
There's the train that goes from New York, Grand Central.
That's a Metro North.
To
New Haven.
That's MTA.
MTA, yes.
Metro North.
Yes.
So there's plenty of those.
Yes.
Because they go up and down the coast.
Sure.
You get off at New Haven.
Now, the other thing that might work for you all is if you drive to New Haven and leave your car there and then go into New York, and then when you come back, you drive from New Haven to Hartford.
They should pay you as a consultant for certain things. That's a great idea.
I've done it.
You know, I was thinking my wife could drive down there to pick me up. She does not.
Or you take your vehicle.
She laughed at the idea.
Yeah, but you can take your vehicle as parking right.
Yeah, I could drive. I could take the train in.
You can take the train in. You can drive and leave your car at Metro North in New Haven and take it down to Grand Central.
Right, and walk from Grand Central to where I need to be. Then when I'm done, walk back.
Right, and then your car is in New Haven, because that's the last stop.
Right, I could park at IKEA.
No, you can park at the train station, Union Station in New Haven.
Okay.
And you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've done it. It's great.
I've done that.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, IKEA is just a short walk.
Yeah, it is. But by the time you get back at night, they're closed.
You know, I hadn't considered that. See, those are the details.
If you did it, if you did it in the morning, or they might be open.
Right, IKEA was open when I left.
Yeah, no. But
on the way back, now your car's in the middle of an abandoned area.
Yeah, well, you might not be abandoned, but you probably got
gated off. You know, you close the gate, you can't get out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna have to wait until morning. Stay in New Haven until morning.
Yeah.
Disaster.
Yeah, I would drive it.
And you would say, I think I should have planned this out a little better.
Yeah. Yeah, I had it down. When I used to go in and out of New York, I had it down to a science. So I would park my car there. Like, for example, when I would have to work the trade shows, during the week was good because I always had a variety of modes of transportation to get there. The weekend is where it got a little complicated. And so particularly Saturdays and Sundays was where it would get a little gummed up. But, and that, and then I would kind of figure that out on Saturdays. I had a friend of mine who would take me to New Haven, and that worked out fine. And we had it timed right to the exact second. When the train would show up, we always would get there early because you buy your ticket at from the machine. Sometimes you could buy it. Most of the times, if I didn't make it on time, buy it from the conductor. Yeah, I mean, you get. And it always worked out. And sometimes I would get to the Javits Convention Center before people who actually lived in New York City would get there, my friends would say, "Wait a minute, you come in from Connecticut and you're here?" And I said, "Yeah." They said, "How do you do that?" I said, "Well, this is the time I leave my house." And I said, "I have a friend. My friend shows up at the house and we're off." So the train is there. I get on. That's it.
Well, I could take the train down. I mean, the drive. That would make sense. I could drive down there. Then I could leave a lot later.
Or drive totally into New York City.
I don't want to drive to New York
Okay, so
City.
you drive to New Haven, and then you leave your car at the Union Station.
45 minutes to New Haven. Get off.
Right.
Get on the train.
Right.
Walk from there to. Because the event is at 4 o'clock.
Oh, you got plenty of time.
But they're leaving at 8 in the morning.
Why?
What?
Because they're,
What they want to do? Walk
they have
around?
to set up. There's a whole lot of stuff involved.
Yeah.
And they're part of the team. So then they'll set up this, that, and the third. And then, my section, the thing I'm involved with capturing it is only from like 4 to 4:45. And then, some cutaway stuff for filler. But by 5:30, everything's going to be done. 5:30, at the latest, 6 o'clock.
So then you'd really be out of New York by what, 7?
I could be out of New York by 6. I could leave by 6.
Okay.
But see, this is a huge event. This is a big time fashion show.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
huge event.
Okay.
And it's on a rooftop.
Oh, well, you got to allow yourself time to get out.
But the heart of the event doesn't happen until the sun goes down in the after party on the rooftop
Oh, my
with
goodness.
lights from the Empire State Building. And I don't want people to have to come bring me back and not enjoy, because, someone, if they have to bring me back, won't be able to enjoy the after party.
Yeah.
Does this happen every year?
Every year. Didn't happen last year because of the COVID.
Yeah, my
yeah.
son was telling me about this fashion show that happened, that he has gone to in New York, that he went with some of his friends, and he says, but he tells me that people dress up all over. It's not just one place, but it's like.
Oh, you're talking about fashion week.
Oh, that's a fashion week. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, they usually do that in Bryant Park and then these other little
Yeah,
activities.
then all the
that's
different outlets and the designers and that's.
Oh,
it.
so
designer
this is a whole
parties.
big
Yeah.
thing.
But these are designed, but this is a big fashion show, and it's the red carpet, then the fashion show, because fashion shows are not long.
No, they aren't.
Not when they're professionally done.
So what's your part? Your part is you're filming
I'm
the
red
fashion.
carpet.
You're what?
Red carpet.
You're red
You got
carpet.
the fun part then.
The red carpet, where the people come in and do all the interviews and all of
Oh,
that.
that's where you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Then it goes from there to, you get different shots around. You got access. I have all access. So once that's over, I'm pretty much done. So.
And that sounds exciting.
Oh yeah, those
Oh,
fashion
that
shows are
sounds
great.
so exciting.
Yeah, it is. It is exciting. It's exciting. It is exciting. I don't want to undersell the excitement.
Well, anytime you go into New York City for an event like it, it's always exciting.
It's exciting. But
really
when
is.
this is what you do,
Yeah.
it's just another day of work.
It is. When I used to tell people I worked at the Jacob Javits Center, they're like, "Oh, you work at the Jacob Javits Center? What's the largest convention center in the world?" I say, "Yes, it is." I said, "But it's work for me." It's like, I says, I come in, I said, you don't see us leading up to this. I said, we come in a day before to do things to get ready for the show. I said, all you see is the after effects of everything being set up. I said, but there's a whole machinery that comes in and starts setting up and laying the carpet down. You got the guys that are doing all that stuff and moving things. I said it's usually hot because they don't have on the air conditioning. This is in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so you
can waste the air on the employees.
That's right. So we have the fans going, these industrial fans going. I says, and then what happens is the next day come in and lights, camera, action, and then you all come in.
Air's on, nice and cool.
Nice and cool, and I look cool, and
Showtime.
Showtime. That's right. It is
fun. I mean, once you're there.
Yeah.
Once you're there, it's an adrenaline rush.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed that
it doesn't stop until you're done.
Right.
Till you leave.
Right.
And sit down after you leave. Mm-hmm. That's when it starts.
Oh, absolutely.
Then it just
conked out. Yeah.
Crash.
I mean, when I was going,
you crash.
You crash.
Yeah. I would crash after those shows. I mean, because you are running on adrenaline. You start early. What I would do is I would walk from the Port Authority down there once I figured out which street the Javits Center was. Walked, and then once I got there, you're stopping along the way. It's some really nice delis, picking up coffee, Danish. And then once you get on site, that's it.
It kicks in.
And then next thing you know, it's lunchtime, and it's over. And then you're meeting a lot of different people too. Mm-hmm. So the personalities are quite interesting. Mm-hmm. But I made a lot of good contacts there. A lot of good contacts through that, and a lot of good friends. In fact, I'm still in contact with all of them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was a good experience. Fun. Yeah,
it's fun.
And I learned a lot about different industries. Each show is different. Each show has its own personality. And certainly big business. That's a lot of the things that we see in our stores, in our supermarkets. It all starts at a convention like that, a trade show. So you learn a lot about how goods are ultimately in your local neighborhood, or your neighborhood store.
It all starts there.
That's right.
The products that might succeed, the ones that you didn't think would succeed, that do, and
and connections. The buyers. It's all who connects with who, and what they're looking for, and meetings are taking place, and selling is happening. And I thought the most interesting show I worked was the food show. The fancy food show, specialty food show. That was that was very interesting, and to see how food is such a big business, billions and billions of dollars. And at the Javits Centers, they had certain pavilions that were just dedicated to certain, some things were by the United States. Different states had, that was the lower level. So you would have every state that specialized in something. New York State was there with wines and apples, and Massachusetts had something. I don't remember seeing Connecticut, but they might have been there. I just didn't. Maybe I wasn't looking for them. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they were there. But the international wing was always very interesting. So Italy always had a big presence. Greece, the Chinese. I mean, it was just. And so Africa. I remember one year they had it was like the African countries had a lot of vendors. Met people from South Africa, Tanzania, and then so every time you would go to a booth or something and you're talking, and even just on my lunch break, I would just talk to people, and then somehow they would always say, "Oh, here, take a sample of this. Oh, try this." So I have all these spices, and come back on the last day because we're not shipping this stuff back. And I was like, "Well, listen, we'll pack it up for you. Don't worry about it." So on an exhibitor pass, you would get all the access to this stuff because I was working with an exhibitor, and it was like going grocery shopping.
Is that where Hartford, when we had that food thing every year?
Taste of Hartford?
Taste of Hartford. Is that the idea came from New York?
Well, New York has those things all the time.
It's an international city of trade.
Yeah, I mean, they have that. That's like every day down there. Yeah, but at the convention center, it was very. I mean, that fancy food show was something else. I mean, and they would have it. It was like every few years it would always be New York, and then it would be on the West Coast. But it was quite an event, and I mean, after a while, you're there for 3 days. And you just see so much food. It's like, I don't even want to see anything. By the last day, it's like you're all fooded out. I mean, and they are giving it away at the end. They're just, I remember I was walking out and this person stopped me and they said, I'm getting ready to throw away this chocolate ganache cake. Would you like it? I said, absolutely, I'll take the chocolate ganache cake. She says, I'll pack it up for you right now. And then and then I was walking out again, and somebody says, we're getting ready to get rid of these cannolis and cookies. You want them? I said, look, I got to get back on a bus to Connecticut. I'll take them. So I had this whole platter of cookies, and I was a hit on the bus coming back. So
now, how long does it take to come back on the bus?
2 hours?
Well, it depends. At night, in the evening, it could be about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Just depends on the flow of traffic and on the weekend. During the week, it's probably about 2 hours. On a weekend,
I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah, on a weekend, it's a lot less because you don't have the traffic.
Mm-hmm. And you can go to sleep on the bus.
Oh, I always sleep on the bus. I'm out.
They say that's the safest way to travel is on the bus.
Yeah.
Bus? Well, the safest way to travel is by plane.
Yeah.
Well,
I had some great bus drivers.
When I was looking it up on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
said that buses were the safest way to travel. I don't know. Maybe
Well, I used to go in and out so much that I got to know all of the bus drivers.
Just a regular run.
Just a regular run, yeah. In fact, I'm still in contact with some of them. They're my friends,
I used to send my stepchildren back to Florida on the bus, which would take 24 hours, I think.
Oh.
And they had to change it in New York.
I can't even process being on a bus.
And then once I was putting him on the bus, and it was at night, and these unsavory looking people were getting on the bus. Mm-hmm. So I said, no, I think you're not going to get on the bus. So he did fly back because I got nervous.
He wasn't nervous though, right? Was he?
He was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
He was, but.
I don't think I put a kid on the bus. There's too many stops.
He was 17.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm a little overprotective. 17.
I didn't put him on. I looked at those people and I said, no, you're not going on this bus. So
wait till you get off in New York. You got a lot of unsavory characters there.
I said, no, and I wouldn't be there so I.
Well, I think people, but I think what's interesting about New York is, we hear that. I know when I was traveling back and forth, I never felt unsafe. And the places where I would get off at, there were always police. There was always a police presence there. So I never felt unsafe. And one of the first things, my mother said to me, she says, look, when you get into the Port Authority, she said, you find out where the police are located, in the building. And I did. And so I would always walk by where they were at. And then I also learned how to maneuver around. And my dad says, okay, he says, you're going to be at the Port Authority. He said, there's a precinct, Midtown East, right there. He says, walk down that street. So I would walk down the street and I would see all the NYPD cruisers. He said, if something happens, he says, you know what to do. They're right there. And then he had contacts in New York City through the NYPD. So, and even though people were retired, I remember once I was outside the Port Authority, the Grand Central Station, and I met an inspector who was with the NYPD, and he thought he knew me from somewhere. And I said, no, I don't. I said, but, so I told him a little bit about my background. Come to find out, he knew an inspector that came up to my father's testimonial dinner back in 1989. Two of them, actually. And he said, one of them, he says, he's running the security over at Times Square. And I said, oh, really? He said, and I said, well, that's a small world. So we ended up exchanging numbers. I gave him my dad's card because I always traveled with his card, had mine. And I said, listen, he says, I said, if you're ever in Hartford and come through, I said, give him a call, let him know that we met. I said, he'd probably like to hear from you. I said, and so I mentioned some of the guys that he worked with, as part of the New York Guardians, because New York and Hartford were working together in those days, and it was like I was part of the family at that point. So I said, I don't feel unsafe. He says, yeah, if something happens, he says, you got my number here, So.
Well, the bus sounds like it could work.
Sure.
I'm looking at the price right here. $31.
What are you going on? Greyhound?
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Yeah.
That's one way.
One way. I get on the bus at 6 o'clock at the Port Authority.
Yeah.
I get back to Hartford at 8:20.
Yeah.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah. Sounds good, huh?
Yeah. I don't have to get off of the vehicle. Switch trains, all that other trial and tribulation and carrying on and all of this. Just get on and get off.
I get stiff on a bus sometimes. But I like the bus. I love the train, but I like the bus too.
Yeah, I just something about the train. I don't know why I had the train locked in my mind. Just, but I get on the bus and go to sleep, I guess. Yeah. The bus seems kind of cramped.
Well,
maybe I should get on the bus. You have all these preconceived notions and this idea. I can't remember the last time I was on a Greyhound bus or Peter Pan. I don't think
they have to be more comfortable than they were 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, we're lucky if we're talking. It might have been 40 years ago that I was actually on a bus. I don't think I've been on a bus in. I can't remember the last time I was on a.
I used to ride from Hartford to Boston when I first started working for American Airlines, and it was a nice ride, relaxing ride. I used to love that ride from Hartford to Boston, and it was about the same as going to New York, maybe a little shorter. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved it, and I love going to New York, even though I don't know what I'm doing in New York. But I love to go to New York. I want to go to the restaurants. I just want to walk up and down the streets and see all the people. I just like it.
Mm-hmm.
Going to New York, and I love Boston too.
I could do that. I could do the Port Authority. That's a very, very good option.
So you're going to go through the Port Authority?
I think I will.
Yeah. What are you going to take, Peter Pan or Bonanza? Well, Peter Pan and Bonanza are part of the same company now.
I think I would take take Peter Pan. That way they don't have to bring me back to Hartford. They could just take me to the Port Authority.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean so you're going to get on in Hartford, right?
No. I'm
gonna get on in New Haven.
I'm gonna drive down with them.
Oh, with your crowd. Okay.
All right. And I'll come back on my own.
Oh, and you're gonna come through the Port Authority.
Right.
Yeah, that'll work. Oh. Yeah, you're gonna
be back here at 8:20.
Okay, so from Grand Central to the Port Authority, you're gonna take a subway over. You're gonna take a shuttle.
Oh, I have a human drive me.
Oh, okay. But if you wanted to, you could take a shuttle.
Subway's
a number
always
7.
made me nervous, but
No, that's the subway. A number 7 shuttle takes you over to, takes you from the east side to the west side to the Port Authority. And then you walk. Yeah.
See, I'll probably get jumped, mugged, and beat down.
Or listen, I used to do
You
this all
start
the time.
asking questions. Where's the number 7 shuttle?
The number 7 shuttle is in Grand
It's
Central.
over here. Oh, is it this? It's the train.
It's the train. Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know nothing.
It's
Yeah.
right behind that pole.
No.
Get in the corner. No, I mean, that's
And
no,
it'll
no,
come.
that's-
You wait, and it'll come.
No.
Yeah.
It'll be there. Just
This is a
It
van.
could get a little confused. I remember I had to learn how to go from the east side to the west side. And once I learned how to do that, it's easy. It's easy. And they have, the people, people think that you're just doing this by yourself. They got MTA workers that are right there to.
I guess so. The
We
thing that
look at too much
what's the
TV and too
most
much violence.
frightening thing? The unknown.
Yeah.
That's right.
The unknown. That's really what people are afraid of. They're not really afraid of anything. They're afraid of the unknown.
I think my mother was a little, even though she and my dad met in New York City, but again, this was a long time ago. When I said, okay, I'm going into New York to get work, nobody believed me until that morning when I got up and I left. And then she got even a little more panicked, I think, once 9/11 happened. And I said, look, Ma, I'm not going down there. I said, it could happen anywhere. I said, but this is where I'm going to be at. I said, besides, when I go to the convention center, they're always rehearsing for something, practice for these things. I said, if something's going to happen, I'd rather it happen in New York City than some other place. But it is about the unknown. But I never, I never felt unsafe there. Never felt unsafe.
So did you go to New York to look for?
Oh no, I actually got work.
Or you got work and
I
then
actually
went
got
to
work,
New York.
and then I went to New York. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I kind of fell into things. Somebody referred me, and then that's it. It all started, and it worked out because there wasn't a lot of work happening up here in Connecticut at that point. So it worked out. It was great.
Well, New York is the big city.
It sure is.
You can't get too much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Like Tokyo or, that's
Yeah,
New
it's
York's a world-class city. That's it.
Yeah, it is. And the people that you come in contact with, the experiences that you have there, you don't have it any other place in the world. Things that I've done down there have really helped me even in terms of what I've done up here and what I continue to do. So,
Well, if you can make it there,
You can make it anywhere.
you can make it anywhere.
yeah.
New York, New York.
I love that city. It's I can thank it because my parents met there. So had they not met in New York, I don't think I would have been here.
You wouldn't be here.
So thank you, New York. Harlem especially.
You owe your life to New York City.
I owe my life to New York City. Yeah, there's no place like it. And they make their diversity work down there. They really do. It's a melting pot. And everybody is bringing something to that pot.
It's that you're forced to make it work. It's
Yeah.
just so many people. I think diversity doesn't work where there isn't really diversity.
Right.
It's you kind of have to force it on people because it's not natural. I think where it's natural, it has to work because everyone has to navigate.
Yeah.
And so you have to find ways to get along with people.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to navigate and you don't have to intermix with people, I think that's where it gets bad. Because now it's you're trying to force other folk on one another.
Yeah.
And that's where I think you get resistance.
Yeah. But every kind of cuisine, every kind of neighborhood, a lot of flowing of information, ideas, and, people are always ready to do business down there. It has a great energy. I mean, I used to always feel very motivated, people would say, sometimes we'd finish a show and we'd say, okay, well, let's go have lunch here, or you meet somebody at a show and the follow-up is, hey, let's go have coffee and talk about some things, and, they're always ready to, and then the environment down there, you go to different places and you see business being transacted and, it's a great place to be. It's expensive. It's a great place to be. But every place is getting expensive now. So, I mean,
All right, so New York City. New York.
They got a great commercial, too. Have you seen the new commercial for I Love New York?
I did see the new commercial.
Doesn't it make you want to go?
Yeah.
It makes you want to go?
It's reminiscent of the old I Love New York commercial.
Yeah.
Right there. It's good.
They had that slogan.
It's a good
there was
commercial.
a gentleman by the name of Lou Rudin, I think, who was a businessman, that came up with that slogan. And I mean, it has really, and I mean, that was many, many years ago. And it has really survived. I'm glad that they revived it. I think they started to revive it, I think, a little bit after 9/11. But it was so nice to see it again. And when I watched it, I said, now see, that makes you want to come to New York. I mean, all the iconic landmarks. And then they have different commercials. So you'll see one. I think the one they showed is the one with the Statue of Liberty and the diversity is great. And then there's some where they show people on the hiking trails and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, hey, this is New York. We've got something for everyone. And then you hear the music. They show the ballet. I think that's Misty Copeland who's doing the dancing and the ballet. And then of course there's always the little romance there at the end. Yeah, that really makes it New York. But I wish Connecticut has a different vibe in terms of how it presents itself tourism wise. I'd like to see it a little more jazzier. A little jazz it up a little.
Connecticut's.
Yeah. What is it? The 40.
I mean,
the 42nd dullest state.
Yeah, I mean, but see, I think it's the way that it's presented. It's the way that it's presented. I mean, when you present something dull, it is dull. We have what we should be saying is, hey, Connecticut, we're a nice place between New York and Boston. And
please stop off on your way to the other place.
I mean, get creative. Get creative. I mean,
have a nice relaxed time.
Yeah, you got beautiful vineyards here. We've got a beautiful wine trail. We've got jazz. We've got art. I mean, I don't think we got a lot of things here, but I just think, and then there's no music. I mean, you gotta have some music to make people want to.
Connecticut is kind of late. It's
laid back.
It's laid back.
I agree.
It's extremely. I want to say extremely conservative, but not in the political sense. But it's very conservative in this is the way it is.
Yeah.
What do you got? The land of steady habits.
Yeah, you can do
169 towns. I think you could really capitalize on the unique diversity of a state that has 169 different municipalities.
Yes, and each town has its own personality.
Right.
I just don't think we capture that in those commercials, and it doesn't make you say, I never thought about Connecticut.
I don't think people think about Connecticut.
Right. You look at it. I look at the commercial and I'm like, really, Connecticut?
When I was working for the UCC, and I had half of Connecticut, so half of the 169 towns, and I was just amazed at Connecticut. And all the little towns you go into. The only thing is, you have to go through the woods a lot.
It is. It's a valley. It's in a valley.
Yes, you have to go through the woods where there's no light and at night all by yourself. But and then you come into this little clearing. That's a little town.
There's a little town with a little church and a little steeple and
always
and
a
it's
UCC.
very charming and it's
church in all those towns. Some of those little towns have two.
I don't know. Some of these places evoke a feeling of, Children of the Corn type stuff. Once the sun goes down, we'll be around.
Who you ain't from around here? Yeah.
So that's also very true of Connecticut. When my nephew was looking for a job. He was up in one of those towns.
Yeah, man.
He got lost, and he saw this man walking, and he asked him for directions, and that man was not too kind to him.
Well, you always have people that are like that everywhere.
What he did not continue on. He came home.
Yeah, there's all people like that everywhere. I mean,
he came home, and
those people you'll find even in a cave. I mean.
You're not from around this part of the cave, are you?
Yeah. What are you doing? What kind of people are you? Yeah, okay. All right, I came to the wrong cave, so have a nice day. See you.
Yeah, I like driving around aimlessly, using up lots of gasoline and just driving. And it's just fun driving around Connecticut. And I'll just point the car and go. I have a pretty good sense of how to get back from where I am. But I just drive until, you got to get somewhere. But as you're out there driving, there's just some places you drive and you get to a place in a road and you're like, just something about this road says, don't come this way. Here's the part of the road that says, this is a good place to turn around.
Well, you got to trust your instincts, too.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you have to always trust your instincts.
Yeah.
Big city, small town, anywhere.
Instincts work. They work.
Yeah.
They work. What's down that road? The end of your life. You just don't want to go down there.
I love, and you know what? One thing I always like to do is I always like to know people where I'm headed. So, if I am going through an area, all my contacts come with me, and I'm like, hey, I'm in your neck of the woods. And they're like, really, where you at? And I'll tell them. They said, wait a minute, I'll come get you, or I'll meet you right there, So, that always helps.
Well, that is helpful.
Yeah.
There's a scary thing when I was going around Connecticut and doing a lot of storytelling, and I'd be really nervous about how I was going to be received in this town that I've never been in, and you do the storytelling, and children always make it easier. I don't. The children always are accepting, and I can remember times when I'd finish a storytelling, and a child would come up and hold my hand, or I would get up and the child would follow me around.
Oh, that's cute.
And it would totally
children
relax
are very
me.
accepting. Yeah,
I was in the church one time, and I was in a church, and I was doing children's time in the church, and I was doing a story, and then I had to take the children out, and all the children started gathering around me, but this one little boy, he was singing, and he hung close to his parents as we were going by, close to his parents, and I just put my hand out, and I said, come on. And that little boy, I really did not expect that little boy.
He came with you?
He just took my hand, and we went out of that church.
Children are funny. They can read you.
They read you. Make you feel even in fearful, but they can just put your heart at ease.
Yeah.
Because they're so accepting.
They are.
They're so accepting.
I remember once I was on a plane, and the mother and father were separated from the children, so there were two little girls that were sitting next to me. And I could see the mother look, and she was like, and I said, Mom, don't worry, I got them. So I was helping them with their little seat belts, and I said, where are you? I said, where are you all headed? Oh, we're going to Orlando's. And the mother just, this whole sigh of relief. So when we were getting ready to get off the plane, she said, I just want to thank you so much for watching the kids. I said, we had a great time. I said, they were delightful. I said, I know. I said, I'll tell you one thing. I said, a lot of people helped my mother when she was traveling with me, and I was very young. And I said, I just paid it forward. We had a great time, though.
All right. Well, guess what, folks? We're out of time. I had a great time.
Yeah.
It's a good conversation. Laid back.
Yes.
Non critical and no heavy politics and stuff. So good conversation. Yeah. All right. So how's the chairs?
The chairs are great.
The audience can't tell. They have different chairs.
Oh, I'm enjoying mine. I had no problem sitting down today.
Yeah, she could actually get in the chair.
These are actually old school chairs.
They're the old school. I was thinking I had to go out and get new chairs.
Like Dick Cavett.
We have all kinds of furniture.
Mike
here.
Douglas.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't they use those kind of shows? Chairs on those shows?
Yeah, those are the original chairs that I had in the studio from before.
Yeah, I like them. They're very comfortable.
And what we had before was designed to lift you into the headroom. Because we had to lift you into the headroom. But for the 2-shot, that never ever happened. We never took a 2-shot because you guys aren't far enough away from the camera to get both chairs at the distance that they were separated. So it was always a single shot. And so in a 2-shot, you have to lift the talent up into the headroom or have a riser. So you need a tall stool or to make the floor higher. And so they were on these tall bar stools, and people would struggle to get into the chairs. And then there's a step stool to get into the stool, and if the stool is shaky, you feel like you're going to fall. So after a year, we finally just brought back the lower chairs. I did that yesterday.
Yeah, feels good.
Because I promised Cleo, I'm going to get you another chair. That don't make no sense. So.
Worked out very nicely, very comfortable. Yes. I like them very much.
Okay, so that's good to go. All right.
It's going to be a hot weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Temperature-wise?
Temperature-wise, yeah. I think we're starting to heat up, a little warm. And next week, a few days next week.
Okay, so summer's coming. Summer's here.
Anything exciting happening in Hartford this weekend?
I don't know.
Nothing.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Jazz Festival's coming up though. Greater Hartford Festival of Jazz. Don't want to miss that. That's gonna be great.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we're out of time, friends. We'll see you next week on Monday with another guest coming in. We're gonna talk a little bit about economics, money, access to capital and credit. Jonathan has a special guest, so it should be fun. All right, see you guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye.